I would like to give a very short background to Sweden's involvement in polling in Georgia, which, as Laura said, has been going on for the last 8 years, since we started our cooperation with NDI in 2008. The first Swedish-funded poll was carried out by NDI and CRRC back in 2009. Initially, the Swedish support focused on increasing trust in the electoral system and the electoral process through strengthening transparency and accountability. With time, as the system developed and trust increased, our focus broadened to include the local level and cooperation both with elected politicians and civil society organizations. At the core of our support has always been the right to political participation on all levels and by everyone. That includes the right to vote, of course, but also to participate in the political debate, to be heard, and to have the opinions of the public taken into account by the politicians. The right to both inform and shape policies. These rights all rest on access to information. In all of this, of course, the polling has played a key role in facilitating the dialogue which serves as a link between the public and the politicians. To further strengthen this fundamental part of democracy, the polling has also changed over time and became fully public in 2012. Another important step was taken 3 years later in 2015, when the results of the polls became available online for everyone. I think it's interesting to look at how these polls have been received and used over time. They have certainly offered unexpected results at times, stirred up feelings and been criticized. But they have also been eagerly awaited, and the results have been carefully scrutinized. Today, I would say they are a fully integrated part of Georgian politics, and the presentation of polling results is a much anticipated event by the public, by the media, researchers, and politicians alike. And I would say that the results are received somewhat differently today than they were 8 years ago. And public opinion and public priorities, as reflected through the polls, are reported by the media and picked up and used by politicians and political parties to a much larger extent today than they were then. Last week, the results of the first poll after elections and the last poll conducted with Swedish support was presented by NDI and CRRC, receiving quite as much attention as the previous ones. After 8 years and a total of 20 polls, we live in a different environment. The electoral system and the democratic institutions of this country have become stronger, and Georgia has come a long way towards a more mature democracy with the capacity to deal with both progress and challenges. Of course, there are still challenges, and some of them remain from 2009. Some have developed along the way. But on the whole, the overall picture today shows a stronger and deeper democratic dialogue and a consolidated right to political participation. 8 years is a long time, and we can see that the understanding of the importance of polling and the capacity to work with the results have developed tremendously during this period. And I'm very proud that we've been able to be a part of that. Our commitment to a democratic and prosperous Georgia will continue, of course. We'll continue our work, including with the NDI, to strengthen political participation, and not least women's political participation. But we have reached a point where our funding for political polling ends. But of course, polling will continue to contribute to Georgia's development. And I'm quite sure of that. Once again, thank you so much for coming. I'm very much looking forward to today's discussions, and especially to hearing from from the speakers on the panels. So thank you again. Thank you, Laura.